On today's installment of Dimitri's Garage, we're going to be taking a look at the last coat black ice, which is today known as deep ice due to some sort of legal dispute. They had to change the name, but it's the same product. We're going to be looking at gloss, visual appeal, slickness testing, UV testing, the whole shebang that we usually do, and we'll find out just how good this product is. Now, it did come with a little pamphlet as well as an applicator and a towel, which makes it for a seemingly easy kit to use, but we will find that out as well. So let's get started with our testing. We're going to kick things off with ease of application testing by applying this black ice to this panel here. Now, this panel is a test hood, which I purchased from a junkyard. It's from a Ford Fusion. If you want to learn more about it, you can view the video right up here in your top right corner. Now, as mentioned, this product came with an applicator and this terry towel for cleanup, and the product also came with this pretty simple list of instructions. Now, this hood has already been washed and decontaminated, and I always do a polish for all our tests and then spray it down with isopropyl alcohol. We're going to shake this bottle up and apply some of the product onto this applicator and then wipe in a hex pattern and then wipe it up. It didn't say to wait between the application for any sort of flashing. It just says spray on and wipe up. So that's what we're going to do. And then essentially we're told just to do a hex pattern over our panel. And now it says to simply buff everything away. I can feel that there's definitely product on here. It did come on pretty thin, but we used the recommended amount of sprays, given that it's only half a hood. Now, this product was incredibly easy to use. I'm pretty impressed with how quickly it went on, how quickly it buffed off, no residue left behind, and it feels slick. So that's absolutely 1 point for the last coat deep ice. One thing that's important to note is they say this product needs a 7-day cure time. So it's gonna be a while before I'm able to finish the test. This is my gloss testing station. Here I've applied the black ice, or deep ice as it's now called, onto this section of the panel, and we're gonna use this gloss meter to see the difference in gloss readings on average between the untreated side and the treated side. The untreated side averages 94 gloss units. And we will give points and take away points depending on the delta in the two scores. So let's get started. Let's turn this device on. What we want to see is 104 gloss units at 20 degrees before we start our test, and that'll show us that we're calibrated. Now let's make sure that we really get somewhere in that neighborhood of 94 gloss units. And as you can see there, we're getting 94.1 gloss units on the control side. Now let's grab 5 readings of the black ice and see how it performs. We'll get our first reading up here, and we're looking like 92.6. Looks like 94.1 over there. 94.2 in the middle. Seeing 93.2 on this corner. And looks like 93.7 here. Let's divide 467.8 by 5 to get our average, and we average 93.56 gloss units. Now let's subtract 94, and this means that the black ice lost 0.4 points rounded down. Not a bad score. Most products we see will reduce the gloss. Keep in mind that 94 gloss units represents a well taken care of car paint, something that's been polished that looks good. So applying a product to it, it's hard to really raise the gloss of something already so shiny. Most of the gloss and shine really comes from buffing and polishing. What's really cool with this product is that it hasn't actually stepped down on the gloss too much, which means the amount of reflected light you'll get from your paint job won't really be much lower than right after polishing, so it'll look very good. And keep in mind, this doesn't necessarily mean the product is pretty or not pretty. Some of the prettiest products step down on gloss significantly. Let's move on to the UV testing portion of our video. Here we will assign points for the UV protective qualities of the last coat product. We'll be using this test card to score between 0 and 16 points, with 0 representing no protection and 16 representing total protection. And it really just shows you how much radiation was able to get through. Now, I'm not gonna go through the full detail of how I did the test. If you're curious about how it works, I have a video that's dedicated to it. So in our case, when we line up our sample of the black ice, we're seeing that it is darker than a 4 and lighter than a 2. So we'll give it 3 points for UVA protection. Before we move on, I want to remind you that I have Amazon affiliate links down below in the description to the products that we're testing today, as well as some of the tools that I use for my reviews. If you click through and purchase anything at all on Amazon, it doesn't even have to be the stuff I link to. I get a very small commission that helps run the channel. Also, I want to remind you that if you're enjoying this video, please remember to give me a thumbs up, leave me a nice comment, and if you subscribe, that would be amazing. Now let's move on and do more testing. Our test hood is fully cured and we're ready to get started with our slickness testing. And for that, we're going to use the block you see here. We're going to use this tool to measure the amount of gram force it takes to move that block. And we're going to be determining the static coefficient of friction. I won't go through all the details of the test, but if you are curious, I will leave a link right up here for you. There's a video that goes over the entire test. We'll take 5 readings and average them out. Looks like we got about 100 grams right here. Let's take our second reading. Looks like we got 80 grams. And we'll get our third reading. We got 90 grams. Let's take our fourth reading. Looks like we got 90 grams. And for our final reading, looks like we got 100 grams. So that's 460 grams. We're gonna divide it by 5 for our average, which is gonna be 92. We'll round that down to 90 grams of force. And divided by 1,040, which is the weight of our block. And that means our static coefficient of friction is going to be 0.09 rounded up. Now 0.38 is the static coefficient of friction of the bare paint. And that means the delta in our ratio is 0.29. Now to get our score, we use a point factor of 3.0. And it gives us 8.7 points. And guys, 8.7 is an excellent score. This is very slick. Let's talk about visual appeal. This is a pass-fail test where I award a point if the product has managed to keep the paint looking good after a high polish or has even improved the look of the paint. And of course, if the product made the panel look worse, it would get 0 points and a fail. In our case, I really can't tell where the line is between the product and the untreated side. I can feel it because I can tell where the slickness disappears, but it's really not optically visible. I would say the product has not made the panel look worse, so it will get a point, but I don't think it has really done anything to make it look better. I have been considering changing this test where a positive score would mean that the product has made the panel look prettier, and a negative score meant that it made it look worse, with 0 being kind of neutral. What do you guys think about that? Should I switch to a system like that? I was thinking maybe giving 5 points for a pretty product and taking 5 points away for one that looks worse and just going 0 down the middle. I don't know, let me know what you think, and I'll look for that down below in the comments. I've taken the hood outside to do our durability test, and on the right side over here we have the product, the last coat, black ice, and you can actually see a very faint line where it's been applied. Now that we're outside, the sun and the right angle kind of lets me see it, but it's very minute, it's very, very faint. So the product still hasn't done that much to alter the look of the paint. Now the goal of this test is to keep washing this panel and determine how many washes it'll take for the product to stop working, where you really wouldn't keep it on your car anymore. And that's when we'll stop, and that'll be the score that it gets for durability. And to get us started, let's take a look and see just how hydrophobic the product is. I would say when comparing the two products, it's clear that the last coat is doing something, but the hydrophobicity just isn't that amazing. So let's go ahead and hit it with a shampoo and see how many washes it'll take before it fails. This is the same Adams shampoo that we've used for all the tests. I gotta say, that felt pretty slick. Kind of felt like it was working pretty good there. All right, let's check the results of our first wash. There's clearly still a big difference. All right, let's test number 5 and see how we're doing. I think we're definitely seeing some deterioration 5 in. It's not crazy, but it's starting to get there. All right, let's test a 10 in. It's not quite dead yet, but it's definitely getting pretty close. All right, let's give this a test. We're now 15 in. Yeah, it's getting real close. I think just a few more washes and we gotta call this thing. All right, we're now 19 in. Let's give it a test. So I would say at this point, the product's performance is at a bare minimum. There's still some pockets and parts of the surface that work. It's very clear the product has failed, and it would be, in my opinion, time to redo and reapply. So I think 19 will be the score I'm going to give here. The last coat, black ice / deep ice. My thoughts are that the product did have advantages. I thought it was very slick, and the numbers showed that. Furthermore, when I was washing the panel, I could really tell how slick it was. The sponge was, or terry, whatever it is, was flying off of it quite readily. It will make for a good protectant for avoiding scratches and other imperfections and marring that might happen during washes. So slickness is a really big deal. Now, I thought that the lack of knockdown of the gloss in our gloss meter testing was also good. You know, a lot of products really stepped that gloss down, and this product didn't. It didn't boost any gloss, but it didn't really knock any down either, which is okay. I would also say that the ease of application was quite great. The product, very simple, didn't leave a lot of residue. As long as you apply it lightly, don't work a huge coat in there, it seemed to work great. Now, the 7-day cure time may put some people off, and for somebody like me who's a tester who needs this panel and kind of hates to tie it up for 7 days, it does kind of suck. But really, for most people out there, if you just don't wash your car for a week, you'll be all right. Another area where I thought this product did well was the UVA testing. 3 points isn't a lot on our scale, but it's as high as anything's gotten. We really haven't found that super strong UVA protectant product yet. And where I thought the product sort of did just okay was the visual appeal. Unfortunately, even being outside and seeing that very faint difference, the difference is so small that I wouldn't say it's really made the paint pop and glow and look good. It just sort of preserved what the polisher did, which is okay, but it's not great. And the real big challenge that I had with the product was the 19 wash durability. Now, that might sound like a lot, and if it was a traditional liquid sealant from 30 years ago, that would be pretty darn good. But today, these ceramics, especially ones calling themselves true ceramics, they're shooting at hundreds of washes these days. Like, I mean, a really good product can get 500, 600, 700 washes. It's amazing what some of these products are getting these days. And getting 19 while billing yourself as a true ceramic and coming in, this little bottle, kind of like how a lot of those ceramics come in that little bottle, it just feels like you're not getting that great of a deal. I don't think this is a bad product. I think there are other spray solutions that are just as easy to use that are stronger. And if you want to learn more about that, there is a link down below in the description to my website where I have a table, and I'll be posting this in there, and you'll be able to compare it to all the other products so you can kind of see where other products will score. Now, as usual, guys, I really appreciate having all of you watch this video, and I hope to see you again real soon.